Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the presentation of the project results of the OPM3 Portugal project. Here I'm going to present you the results from the cluster governance. I'll start to show you the results of all the cycle in the project area, initiation, planning, executing and closing. Then also the results from the portfolio, organizational enablers, and then I'll tell you what were the best practices achieved by the government cluster, and also a summary of the whole results. So we start with the first process, the process ownership, which achieved 100%, as you can see the green, dark green, and then we'll have here on the first slide as well the results for the initiation phase, the developed charter, and the identification of stakeholders, which did not achieve a good result with 29 and 10% respectively. And then we have the whole processes of the planning phase, starting with the project management plan. As you can see, it achieved 0% on the government, which is in fact a very poor result. The government institutions are not taking attention to this process, which is a development extensive of the plan phase. Then we have the colleague requirements and the definition of scope, which they are well implementing. Then we have the work breakdown structure and the sequence activities, which are not being implemented. Just the definition of the activities they are implementing by this cluster. There is the processes related with the activities, the resources and the duration of the activities are poor results, as well as the developed schedule. The estimation of the costs, they're here giving an improvement. They are implementing some processes, some activities, some best practices in this process. The determination of the budget still needs to improve. There's not so well as the estimation of the costs. And then here we have the plan quality, the process for developing the human resources, the plan communication, the risk management, and all the others process related with the risk. They're achieving really a low result. At the end of the planning phase, the plan procurements, they're achieving a good results, which they are planning well the buys that they need to make for their processes. Here we only show one best practice achieved, which is by this process plan procurements. Here on the next slide we have the processes for the execution and monitoring control phase, and then at the end, at the bottom, two for the closing phase. Starting with the first one, the direct and managed of the execution. Here the government are just taking a big consideration for the process when they start moving from the planning to the execution. The perform quality assurance and the acquire project team, develop project team, and manage project team, they achieve 0% on these three. So they are not first, they are not putting the quality assurance in practices, but also they are not putting too many consideration the development of the project team as well. The distribution of the information it's better, with achieved 24%. The stakeholders' expectations, they are not being cared. The conduct procurements as well. The process related with the procurements, they are good as well, achieving 100%. At least is the best result achieved as well from here. The monitoring control project work achieved 45%, which is a good percentage. The performance integrated change control, they are not implementing the change during their processes, as you can see, which achieved 0%. Then the verification, control scope and control schedule, as well as control costs are showing a low percentage, as well as the perform quality control. Here on the report performance, they're a little better, so they're registering the performance of the processes by this clustered government. The risks again showing 0%. Well, if they are not planning, they cannot control the risks as well. So achieved 0%. And then the procurements again with a good percentage on the administration and also on the closing. And the close project, which is a main process, is not being implemented, showing at 0% on the result. Here we have the sum of the best practices, which were 10 best practices by the whole process area. Moving on to the portfolio domain, we have here not so good results as we have in the project domain, with achieving only points on the first process. The process ownership is not 100% as in the project and on the project domain, as is clearly there's no identification of an individual that is owning the processes. So in the government executions, they are not clearly identified which is the owner of the processes on this domain, achieving zero best practices. Here to the last domain, the organizational enablers. We have here the results. They're a little bit better from the previous domain. The organizational policy and vision practices the strategic alignment are okay. They get 35 and 48% respectively. The resource allocation is not so good, with 28%. There's not implemented processes for the management systems, as you can see, with 0%. The sales sponsorship is well implemented with 90% by these organizations. The organizational structures achieve 44%. The competency management is not so well with 18%. Then to the next two processes, the individual performance appraisals and the process management training. These organizations know how to evaluate their team members and putting into practices the project management training to develop their employees. Then organizational project management communities, practices, methodology, techniques. They have here an average results of 20% with 10, 20, 33, 7, 20, 26. So it's a low result which they can and they should improve. The project management metrics, the success criteria, and the benchmarking are also low result. And then there's any implementation of the processes for the knowledge management and the information systems for project management. And then again, the best practices, they achieved two best practices. One in sponsorship, where they have the really good result with 90%, and then as well on the project management training with one best practice as well. Here on this slide, I'll show you the best practices achieved by the government institutions, starting with the standardized processes, which they achieved on the monitoring and control from the project definition scope, project plan procurements, and project conduct procurements. Then also on the measure phase, they achieved also on the project conduct procurements. On the control, they achieved on the definition of scope, conduct procurements, administration, and close procurements. And then on the last stage of the project, they achieved on the conduct procurements as well. So here are some processes related with the procurements that are well established. Also, not related with the project stage. They achieved the established a strong sponsorship, as we can see on the previous slide, and then also the last one, the established training and development program. Here on this slide, I'm showing you the summary of the results by the government institutions. The first point, I'll show you I'm giving you the result of the maturity level, which achieved 2%. But I'm calling you the attention from the last point, which says the OPM3 continued global score is 21%. On the first point, only matters the best practices that are implemented by the organizations. And on the last point, it counts everything that the organization are making to improve their organization. So we should focus on the last point. Related with the domains that were evaluated, for the projects, these organizations achieved 25%, only 6% for the portfolio, and 28% on the organizational enablers. These are continue OPM3's evaluation, so it counts everything that the organization is making, as well as on the last point. For the project phases separately, we have 10% for the standardization, 2% for the measure, 10% for the control, and 2% for the improvement. So 12 best practices were achieved by a scope of 300. So 4% was achieved by the government institutions. Here on the last slide, I'm showing you the results, which is a graphic that shows from the results on the domains are represented on the vertical, and the project phases on the horizontal. I'm calling you the attention for the same result achieved on the standardization and on the control phase, which achieved 10% and only 2% on the measure, as well as the continuous improvement. So here it shows that these organizations are controlling the processes, some processes that are not well measured. So the OPM3 says that first we should standardize the processes, then measure, then control, and then at last continuous improve. And here these organizations are controlling some processes that are not well measured, and first they should measure the processes, and then only after control it and improve. 3% was achieved for the organizational enablers. So we reached the end of the presentation. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day.